Alright, what's going on, guys? I'm Ryan for Student Aesthetics. In today's video I want to talk about mini cuts, and a lot of you probably already have heard of it before. I've talked about this in some videos, but I've never truly explained it. So first of all, what is a mini cut? So a mini cut is actually just a cutting period, so a period in which you're trying to lose fat, but it's a very short and aggressive period. And the reason you do this is usually to clean up some gains during a lean bulk, alright? Because when you are bulking, you want to do it for as long as possible, but during that time you always put on a little bit of fat, alright? That is inevitable. I'm not saying you should get fat as hell, and that is why you do want to include some mini cuts during your lean bulk in order to stay in that caloric surplus for as long as possible. Because in a caloric surplus, you're in a very anabolic environment, so you basically want to do that for as long as possible. The winter is coming for most of you guys. I'm out here in the sun, but for most of y'all it's going to be winter and you're going to want to bulk. Now when I say when you're bulking, you always put on a little bit of fat. So in order to clean up that fat, in order to clean up some gains, you want to include mini cuts during the year. Now what should your calories look like during a mini cut? Well, usually in the cutting period you want to be about 500 calories under your maintenance calories. And maintenance calories basically mean the amount of calories your body needs in order to stay exactly the same, alright? In order to not build any muscle, not lose any fat, stay the same. Usually you want to do 500 calories below that, but in a mini cut it's a very short, aggressive period, alright? Because it's only for 3 up to 6 weeks. You don't want to do it for too long. And that is why, you know, you can get in a little bit of a bigger deficit. So you could go up to a deficit of about 700 calories. I won't really go any lower than that, because in that way, you know, you might lose some muscle in the process. But because it's a very slow period, there's a big possibility you will not lose any muscle. And more importantly, the thing with a mini cut is that metabolic adaptation will not really occur because it's such a short period of time compared to like a regular cut. Because a regular cut will be like from 8 to maybe even 16 or 20 plus weeks like I did before. I did a cut of over 20 weeks for my photo shoot, and you know, after that your hormones will be affected a little bit. So during a mini cut that will not happen. That's why you actually can go lower in calories. Alright, so how much cardio should you do? That is a question I get asked very often, whether it's a mini cut or a regular cut. In my opinion, you know, cardio is not the factor to fat loss, alright? A caloric deficit makes you lose fat. Now, you can use cardio in order to get a bigger deficit or in order to get into that deficit, but I don't recommend doing too much cardio, especially if it's HIIT cardio, so high intensity interval training. This is, in my opinion, the most effective way of cardio because it's very time effective. But you can only do this up to like 3 times a week, because if you do more, your central nervous system is going to be affected, and you know, recovery is going to be affected as well. So you don't want to do that because you still want to lift heavy weights. Now, if you do too much cardio, your recovery can slow down. So what I recommend is a maximum of 3 times HIIT cardio per week. And you can throw in some extra low intensity cardio if you want to, because you want to be in a bigger deficit of like 700 calories instead of 500. You may want to throw in some additional cardio just because it's easier to stay in the deficit, because otherwise you would have to eat like very little food per day. Now also, how much weight do you want to lose? That kind of is personal dependent, but in general you can really lose up to 2 pounds a week, because a lot of it is going to be water weight. Now, if you do a cut for only 3 weeks, you can lose a little bit more per week, because the first 2 weeks you're going to lose a lot of water and glycogen, and that is why it's kind of hard to say. But if you stay in that 700 caloric deficit, you will definitely lose like 1 to 2 pounds at least, maybe even 3 pounds a week. But because it's for such a slow period and a lot of it is glycogen and water, you don't have to worry about muscle loss, because a lot of people think like, oh, I'm losing all my muscle after a few days, but that's not gonna happen. So yeah, after that cut, how do you get back into a surplus? Do you do like a reverse diet? No, absolutely not. With a mini cut, you drop your calories right away, all right? From Sunday up until Monday, if you want to start on Monday, start of the week, you go directly into a deficit from the bulk, and then once your mini cut is done, I do recommend actually going up to maintenance for about 5 days, maybe up to 1 week, but not any longer, right? Because it has been a very slow period. So you go up to maintenance calories for like 1 week, 5 days, and then you start increasing your calories again. So add like 200 to 300 calories to be in a lean mass phase again and start building some muscle. All right, so then finally, when you did the 3 to 6 weeks mini cut, depending on how much fat you wanted to lose in the first place, the point is not to get shredded, okay? The point is just to clean up some gains. So don't expect to get like a crazy six-pack in those 3 to 6 weeks, but you will be able to strip off some fat. Now maybe your six-pack was gone during the bulk, and now it's coming back a little bit, right? That's the purpose. So I hope this is gonna help you guys out, because I know a lot of you want to build muscle. Building muscle takes a long amount of time. I've told this so many times, you know, a lot of people think A lot of people want to be shredded all the time, but you have to be in a caloric surplus in order to make gains, in order to make strength gains, and that directly correlates to muscle mass. So it is so extremely important that you are in a caloric surplus for a long period of time. I've been in a caloric surplus for the first 3 years of my lifting career, guys. This body is not even that big, but it took me this amount of time, right? So you can't always walk around with a six pack, so you gotta sacrifice that a little bit, but those mini cuts will help you to stay lean, to stay shredded. And if you guys also want to have some other tips on how to stay lean during a gaining phase, then make sure to check out my other video. I'll put a link in the description box down below. And with that said, I want to end this video. Oh, and by the way, I'm actually in Sevilla right now. You guys are probably wondering what the hell is this guy doing here, because I'm actually gonna release this video tomorrow. Now the vlogs will be a little bit later, so it's kind of like weird, but you guys will find out in the next vlogs what I'm actually doing here, why I'm here in this nice place. And just tell me it doesn't look amazing. So make sure to like the video down below, make sure to comment down below, subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you guys for watching as always, and peace out. I'll see you in the next video.